Hi, this is Kevin with the Daily Forex Report for May 26, 2010. Currently looking at the USD Japanese Yen chart. This chart actually shows a downward bias and a downward overall bias and a sideways short-term bias. And we've been forming some the low wicks of the pair have recently been forming some interesting support and resistance levels and whatnot. Here's a very strong one right here. We'll look for that to break in the coming sessions, but look for some support around 89.25 in this pair and some resistance around 91.15. Look for it to go as high as 91.33 and as low as 88.47. Alright, switching over to the EURUSD daily chart, you'll notice here that the chart is beginning in today's session, beginning its fourth consecutive down bar. So this pair has a downward bias overall with a sideways to downwards short bias for the shorter term. Look for this pair to go as high as 1.2406 and as low as 1.1906, with some support at 1.2115 and some resistance at 1.2315. Alright, skipping over to the pound US dollar chart. You'll notice that the pound has been moving very sideways for the last week and a half or so, with a large downward move prior to that. So we are looking for this pair to continue its downward bias with a sideways bias in the short term. Look for this pair to go as high as 1.4561 and as low as 1.4211 in this session, and look for some support around 1.4296 and some resistance around 1.4453. Alright, last but not least is the pound US Swiss chart. This pair has been trending upwards for quite some time now, since around the beginning of April, and so our bias on this particular pair is the long bias, but the past couple sessions have been trading on and off bull and bear candles, and this candle right here is still kind of sticking out as the reverse hammer formation. So this might cause the pair to turn around and have a correction, but the bias is sideways to up at this particular time, but we'll just keep an eye on it. Look for this pair to go as high as 1.1726 and as low as 1.1478, with some support around 1.1592 and some resistance around 1.1652. Let me switch back to the pound chart real quick. You'll notice as I was drawing these lines, this top line right here, I was actually doing it in a swing trade. This is a swing trade setup rather. So I noticed in the past, including today's session, in the past two candles, we actually forming a very tight triangle that reverses direction in the next session. And while this is still pretty small, if you were to switch over to the 4-hour chart, you'll see that we've been trading in this very tight range within the past couple days. But this particular pair, whenever you go down to the 4-hour, you'll see that these trend lines that I've drawn actually have more bearing. This one has hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 4, 5 on, 5 of the times have been very recently, and this one has only been hit twice, but it's almost a perfect symmetrical triangle based on this bottom line here. So what I'm looking for within the next session or two is for this pair to actually either break down and continue its sideways movement and try to make a couple extra pips between this area here and this area here, and kind of do the same thing for the upside, but I'd be a little less reluctant to do so. Tomorrow's news announcements include the USD Gross Domestic Product and the USD Gross Domestic Product Price Index, both coming out at 8:30 tomorrow morning Eastern Time. Both are really high whenever it comes to market volatility. They like to move and shake pairs, and so you might be able to pull a couple of pips out of this one, or if you're not a news trader, just kind of stay on the sidelines. It should be treated kind of like the non-farm payroll. So that is tomorrow, again at 8:30 in the morning, and the previous number for the gross domestic product was 3.2%, and the forecast, what the market is expecting is for it to increase to 3.5%. And the actual USD gross domestic product price index previous was at 0.9% and is looking to hold steady at 0.9%. So again, if the actual number ends up being kind of far off of what was predicted, it will move the market either up or down depending on which direction it actually comes out in. So again, it's going to move the market quite a bit, so just be wary of it about tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern time. Well, that does it for today's daily Forex report. So until next time, this is Kevin. Good trading.